Alright everyone, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's Matt again. Matt here bringing you game 3 of this affectionately labelled Best of 11 series between TyRanT BacT and Silex. Without further ado, let's kick off into the game and let's start spectating this Byzantine matchup, this Byzantine mirror matchup between TyRanT BacT and Silex. Once again, we'll introduce the players, we'll introduce the maps. We don't have to introduce the civilizations because we've just done that. We also don't really have to introduce the players because if you're at this point in the series and you already know that the two players are Silex and TyRanT BacT, but regardless, nevertheless, let's introduce them and see what's cracking in this matchup anyway. So up here to the northern sort of area of the map, playing in the blue trunks, playing as player 1, we do have Silex, the unfortunate, what's the opposite of victor? I don't want to say loser because that's a little bit harsh, but the unfortunate non-victor of the past two matches between these two guys that we've seen, and he's playing as the Byzantines. Obviously, because it's a Byzantine matchup up to the north of the map, whereas sort of on the opposite sort of edge of the map, kind of between the western and sort of southern corner, so I guess you could say the southwestern corner of the map, we have, and playing in the red, TyRanT BacT, again playing as the Byzantines, and I kind of want to look at TyRanT BacT's map, or BacT's map, because this is crap. This is such a bad map. So we can see he's got his main gold out here on the front of his base, or toward the front of his base. You might be thinking, oh, it's not too far away though, Matt. It's not actually that bad. To which I would say, well, look at the hills. He's in such a huge valley out here toward the front of his base, and that's going to be really, really nasty for him at pretty much any stage of the game when he's under pressure, because Lix is going to have a really nice hill bonus pushing down into the economy and the base of BacT here. A little bit nasty for him, so poor BacT, I guess you could say. What else has he got? He's got his berries at the back of his base. Again, that's quite nice. He did have his berries at the front of his base in the previous game, and he still managed to take that victory, so should be in a good position there. He does have a stone toward the back of his base. He's also got a nice lumber line toward the back of his base on this nice little plateau out here, so he's going to be in an okay position to be able to take this nice and safely for the time being. He does have another gold out here toward the back of his base with another, wow, he's got another couple of golds out here as well. They're starting to get a little bit far away to be able to be safe, to be able to be considered safe in like the feudal age or anything like that. But once you get into the castle age, late castle age, imperial age, you know, maybe some town centers or some castles out here, and wow, he's going to be even able to take all these 3 golds, maybe take control of these as the game goes on. That's going to be really, really nice for him. Where is his other stone? He's got a stone out here. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's a secondary stone. But the main thing I wanted to focus on for BacT's base was the fact that he's got this huge ass hill at the front of it. We saw in the previous game that Lix did have a nice, he had a nice hill. He had a hill at the front of his base as well. And while it was quite, you know, it was okay for him during the time that he could maintain map control, it got really, really difficult for him when his opponent was inside of his base and he had to try and defend a downwards or downhill pressure. It got a little bit too difficult for Lix, and he unfortunately folded. For Lix. So what about Lix's base though? Lix's base right off the bat does look a little nicer than BacT's just because it is quite easy to wall. He can wall off quite simply there. You can see it looks like he's already got a sort of pseudo wall off going off across the front of his base. It will kind of lock out the stone from him, but as Byzantines, doesn't matter too much, I guess. We don't really see cataphracts as a main constituent of a Byzantine army. So the stone being locked out of his base isn't too terrible, especially if he does grab some map controls. The game goes on, he'll be able to take this regardless of the fact that he's walled off this front of his base anyway. His main gold out here, that's quite nasty. That's out the front of his base, which means it's going to be quite easily harassable by BacT, and it is pushed up against this wood line, which means, you know, full saturation on it, not exactly going to be viable, and it is at the bottom of a hill as well, on top of which this other gold pile here for Lix is sitting, a stone pile within arm's reach here as well, definitely within one screen. What else have we got here for Lix? He does have a nice close berry patch, which is always good for him as well, pushing in a couple of deer from this deer patch here. I'm not sure how many deer were there. I can see a couple of dead deer here. So, is that a deer? Yeah, it looks like it could be a deer, maybe. So it looks like a 4 deer patch, that's quite nice for him as well. And he's got a really, really nice lumber line here that he can take. Of course, this could be towered quite easily by BacT if BacT does decide to go forward, which we might see. We might see that BacT wants to go forward. Oh, Lix. Lix, losing a villager. 2k plus, ladies and gentlemen, losing a villager. So now you don't have to feel bad when it happens to you as well. And grabbing Loom now, just because he doesn't trust himself to do the sheep blocking anymore. He probably could have got that villager. He probably could have got that lure in with no Loom anyway. I'm not sure, or with no sheep block. I'm not sure what he was doing. But either way, he's going to try and bring that boar in now as well. And grabbing Loom and also losing a villager means his economy is going to be quite a bit weaker than his opponents here. Definitely in these early stages of the game. So what are each of these players going to go for? It's going to be interesting to see the sort of build up. Well, we can see that BacT is splitting his lumber line now, so I would say that he is not going to be looking at going for any sort of drush. He's definitely not going to be drushing. He could be going scouts. You can go scouts as Byzantines. They don't get bloodlines, so it's not, it's not going to be the most effective and most powerful scout rush that you'll ever see in your life, but they can go scouts quite comfortably. They can also do man-at-arms. They can literally do anything, owing to the fact that their tech tree is just so fleshed out. They get everything, but not the unique units. And we can see more villagers coming out here for Lix as well. So right off the bat, it looks like neither of these players are going to be going for a drush. Instead, we're going to be seeing some other sort of feudal age aggression, maybe scouts or maybe man-at-arms or something like that. Although BacT has not transitioned any villagers out to gold yet, keeping all villagers on food. So it looks like he might indeed be going scouts. What can we be saying for Lix though? Is Lix heading anything else out to anywhere, like gold or anything? No, he's not. So what I can imagine that we'll see is, yep, okay, so we're going to be seeing a barracks coming up now for BacT and these this villager out here building a barracks for Lix as well. I imagine we're going to be seeing sort of the stock standard thing that we often see with with Byzantines, which is we're just going to be seeing a crap load of skirmishes owing to the fact that Byzantines do get cheap trash, cheaper trash. I have to kind of add a qualifier there, saying that Byzantines also do get cheaper camels and such, which means that they don't get only cheaper trash, but their trash units are cheaper than than other civilizations, except the Hussar. Oh, this is really, really hard. They get cheap skirmishes, which is essentially what I think we're going to be seeing here, because there's been no transition out to gold for either player that I can see, and we do see a villager coming forward here for BacT as well. He scouted the fact that there is another lumber camp here, so he could be dropping a tower here. Indeed, we can see that he's dropping a tower there on one of the wood lines for Lix, whereas an double archery range production of skirmishes is going to be going on at home. For BacT, and we can see one archery range coming up now for Lix as well, finishing off this pseudo wall off at the front of his base, and again locking out the fact that he wanted to take this deer. I'm not really sure what he wanted to do there, but we can see this tower is going to come up unbeknownst to Lix, and it's going to force, wow, not unbeknownst, maybe, did he scout that? Or is his, oh, he scouted it. Wow, that's really, really nice, or at least he can see it. So a defensive watchtower coming up now for Lix as well, and it looks like he should be able to get this up in a good enough time that he is going to be able to defend his wood line here. But at the same time, the idle time this is going to cause for Lix is going to be so much more beneficial for BacT, because BacT's only got one villager out here building this watchtower, whereas Lix is potentially going to have to jump all of these villagers inside his watchtower when it comes up to be able to keep. Yeah, see, straight away like that. Lix has. Well, okay, not anymore, but Lix has more villagers idle than, or he still does. Lix has got more villagers idle than BacT does, and he's, as we can see, there are a lot of skirmishes coming out here for BacT as well. Again, cheaper skirmishes for Byzantines, why would you not do it? And Lix recognizing the situation quite well actually, and thinking, I don't actually need to be taking down this tower at all, I can just move my villagers a little bit away from the line of fire of this watchtower and still take wood somewhat safely. Skirmishes being pumped out for both players here, and this is going to be so much fun. It's going to be more or less what we saw in the previous game. With the Japanese War, except we're going to see pretty much only skirmishes to begin with, and we're going to see a very slow transition over onto gold as the two players try to get up to the castle age. And we can see the wall off coming in here for Lix. He's creating it quite well and finishing it off quite nicely as well here towards the left of his base. And BacT is doing what BacT needed to do with his crappy map. He's trying to keep his opponent locked up inside of his base. But again, he can't really do too much damage at the moment because his opponent is completely and utterly fully walled. He will be able to pick off the scout though if he's paying attention, which he is. The skirmishes obviously do very little damage to scouts, but when there's this much of them and they're backing up your own scout, then you should be in a good position. Is BacT doing what I think he's doing? Is he actually walling in this? Oh, that would have been cool. If BacT had to put more houses out the front of his base here, or at the front of Lix's base here, and just tried to wall off the front of Lix's base, that would have been fantastic to see. Forcing, oh my goodness, he's actually doing it. BacT, you cheeky little bugger! This is awesome. This is fantastic to see. Blacksmith also having been thrown up for BacT, creating a little bit of a wall off at the front of his base here as well. Back at home with Fletching coming in on the way, but this is fantastic. He's actually walling in this archery. Well, half walling in these archery ranges here from Lix, which means Lix is going to have to ungarrison his archers out on this side of his archery ranges, and to be able to get out, he's going to have to delete a house or something like that to get his skirmishers out of here. This is fantastic to see. A blacksmith also being thrown up now for Lix, with Fletching coming in on the way, and if he's not careful, he might actually lose his archery range. It's going to be a slow, arduous process, granted, because it's only skirmishers that are firing upon it from Lix, from BacT, but still, you know, it's on fire. That's never really what you want to see. This watchtower still doing a little bit of damage, and Lix has had enough. Lix wants to take down this watchtower now, quick, smart. And are we going to see any... No, there's still not being any ungarrisonedness going on here. BacT up on 3 extra villages at the moment. I'm not really sure where that has come from. Obviously, Lix lost a villager at the beginning of the game, but here we go. The blacksmith having been, the barracks having been deleted. He didn't potentially need to do that. He could have ungarrisoned. Oh no, he did have to because of this guy here. Yeah, so the barracks having been deleted, and a lot of skirmishes having come out now for Lix as well. With the defender's advantage, he's going to be able to push back this army from BacT quite comfortably and quite safely. But BacT does get a minor victory out here on the western flank, on the left-hand side of the map, picking off the scout from Lix there. So it's all well and good and all nice for him, as the skirmisher is going to get taken down again by a wolf. The minimum range kicking in for the skirmisher there, woo woo woo, as T90 would say. And like I said, this mega army of skirmishers here from BacT is going to get taken down quick, smart, and this villager is going to go down as well. Obviously, this amount of skirmishers can actually pack quite a punch to villagers. And straight away, BacT, a little bit of a precarious situation now. He does still have, he's still got some skirmishes back at home, but we can see the military is quite heavily in favour of Lix at the moment. And if Lix really wants to start trying to snowball this and put more pressure on, he's going to be in an okay position to do so. He can move around. He can actually get into the economy of BacT here. It's going to be a long hike, but he can go all the way around this wood line and then through the back of BacT's economy and come into the wood line of BacT here. But again, hill bonus or no, Lix just has too many friggin' skirmishes here for BacT to deal with. They're both even on upgrades. But now BacT is being forced away from whatever hill advantage he had, and Lix is going to be able to take quite a nice engagement here. It's not going to be game ending, I wouldn't think, but a bit of nice micro here from BacT is not really helping out. I was going to say is keeping his skirmishes alive for a little bit longer, but no, BacT doesn't really manage to keep too many of those skirmishes alive. I think I suppose he picked off quite a few skirms here from Lix, and Lix has not patrolling in here, and there's quite a few low HP skirmishes in here with a scout in the... Scout was in the mix, but now BacT is going to be able to take this fight quite comfortably, in my opinion. Wheelbarrow coming in for both players now as well, but the economy lead is what's really surprising me. I'm not entirely sure where this 5 villager deficit for Lix has come from. Maybe he was idling his TC to get out a little bit more army. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, BacT is forcing away this the small contingency of skirmishes from Lix. In fact, he should be in an okay position now as well, as he has managed to buy himself time to complete his wall off out the front of his base. And it's always amazing. I always say, nah, there's no way that these players will be able to wall their maps off. And then they kind of spit in my face and they're like, watch this. This is how we're going to wall it off. And they wall it off brilliantly and fantastically. And we can see another villager coming out here as well. Looks like BacT is going to be wanting to complete his wall off. A nice block of palisade across there would do the job quite nicely. And now BacT, after having pretty much forced the delete of this barracks here from Lix, is now moving into the economy, moving into Lix's economy, and is going to be able to get a few more villager picks in here, at the very least, if not create quite a bit of idle time here for Lix, and just solidify this economy advantage. Although it is only 3 villages now, that BacT is ahead of Lix, and now let's make that 4 villages, seeing as our villager's gone down. There will be another one going down here as well, if BacT does focus fire that villager. Focus fire that villager. There we go. Okay, so BacT is solidifying his lead. 6 villagers now. Economically speaking, BacT is in quite a nice position. Both of the players do have wheelbarrow. But we can see Lix is actually clicking up to the castle age first. So once again, I eat my words. I'm not sure how the hell that happened. Maybe he just kind of took his foot off the accelerator in terms of army army production for a little bit, but it's going to come down to micro to see who can take this fight here, seeing as though both players are on even upgrades. But seeing as though BacT is fighting inside the base of Lix, Lix is going to be able to bring forward reinforcements as he does plug up the hole at the front of his base. So Lix is going to be able to eventually take this fight quite nicely indeed. But now BacT clicking up to the castle age as well, only about, you know, maybe just over a villager behind his opponent in terms of time, but he's 8 villages ahead in terms of actual villager numbers. So again, BacT, in my opinion, holding quite a nice economical advantage. And it's going to be interesting to see. We can see 3 ranges coming in now from both players. Sometimes in Byzantine wars we do see a transition, quite a hefty transition into knights after the initial feudal age aggression. Just completely owing to the fact that as Byzantines you pretty much a lot of the time the players will go skirms, and a fantastic counter to skirms is either obviously mangonels, right, or knights, or just some melee units that can really get up into the face of the skirmishers and utilize that minimum range that the skirmishers do have. But at the very least, and we can see a stable coming up for Lix now, seems to be a common trend with this boy that he does want to get the stable up once he gets into the castle age. So mixing in a couple of knights with the almost imperative elite skirmishers that we'll probably see from both of these guys here means that Lix is going to be in a nice position to be able to defend against this army here from BacT. But BacT is like, oh, I've got another trick up my sleeve, and he's moving around back into this wood line from Lix, who has got no weak villages here, but he has recognised the situation. He's moving some of the villages away, and we can see Castle Age with Scale Barding Armour now having been completed with Elite Skirmisher and Scale Barding Armour, is what I meant, and Crossbowmen on the way now for side Lix. And which means that this army here, this full skirmisher army from BacT is not going to be able to withstand too much of a damage from that. And Lix now pushing out with his army of soon-to-be elite skirmishers and crossbows. Do we see Bodkin Arrow coming in for Lix? Has he got Bodkin? He's not got Bodkin Arrow, so he's foregoing that. Whereas BacT going for Bodkin, elite skirmisher, and crossbowman as... Wait, did I see crossbowman? Okay, I'm not sure if I saw crossbowman now, I'm double guessing what I actually saw, but this elite skirmisher army here from Lix, the upgrades come in much too quickly for BacT to be able to deal with, and he's going to lose pretty much his whole army here, rushing up a siege workshop at the front of his base. And what's going on with the skirmisher army inside of Lix's base? Well, this knight can't actually find it at the moment. Elite skirmisher now having been completed for BacT, and this, oh, the siege workshop, 86%, that is so unfortunate for BacT. And now Lix is just going to run straight through into the economy of BacT. Elite skirmishers, man, they just don't care. 5 PS armor, they could not care less about town center fire. And this quick wall, this micro quick wall here from BacT just not being able to get up. Can Lix do the damage? Can Lix pull back the 7 villager deficit that he has at the moment? Another siege workshop trying to be hurried up inside the base of BacT, but it's not happening. The skirmishers inside of Lix's base are being taken down. Quick smart by the knights that we saw Lix producing from the stables inside his base earlier. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like BacT is going to be able to do any damage inside of Lix's base, so we'll keep our army. Yeah, no, that should be okay. So we'll keep our attention focused here, that is to say, so we can see that the villager deficit now is actually in favour. There is no villager deficit for Lix anymore. In fact, he's actually ahead in villagers, and what he should be doing now is just, yeah, good boy, clever man. He's just focus firing these villagers here, and he's just going to walk around inside of BacT's economy and see what damage he can do to his to the villagers inside of BacT's base. This was such a nice raid, such a nice amount of elite skirmishers having come in now for BacT to be able to deal with all of this this sort of this aggression from Lix. But Lix is getting so much worth out of these skirmishers. A really nice quick wall here from BacT means that the skirmishers here are going to be forced to fight the elite skirmishers from BacT. No more villagers going to be going down at the hands of these elite skirmishers from from Lix. But they've done the damage. They have done everything they needed to do. They've now pulled the villager lead back in favour of Cy Lix, and that was such a blow to the economy of BacT. BacT now needs to try and find a way to pull himself back. An extra town centre having come up now as well for Lix, so that villager lead is just going to be able to start increasing twice as fast as the Well, the amount of villagers is going to be able to start increasing twice as fast for Lix as it will for BacT. A defensive siege workshop also up inside of Lix's base here. Mangonel popping out, being sent out to the front of his base. A couple of knights here with +1 defense as well. Mangonel finally getting, finally, the siege workshop out here on the front of BacT's base being completed as well. And now sees the Mangonel, defensive Mangonel coming in now for BacT. But that Mangonel is not going to be able to do jackal against the knights that that Lix is also fielding inside of his army. So at the moment, I would say that once Lix starts getting up his army numbers, if he wants to, he can really start putting the pressure on and doing the damage against BacT here. But BacT took quite a bit of quite a hammering. In terms of all this raiding from the villages, from the elite skirmishers from Lix, and obviously he did create a little bit of where's that stone wall? Yeah, there's a bit of stone wall coming up here as well, so he couldn't actually throw up a town center straight away, moving a couple of villages over to stone. And a university coming up now as well for BacT. And this is not a fight that Lix wants to take. No, don't put your knights in there. That is too many skirmishes. That's about 40 skirmishes, or yeah, about 40 elite skirmishes, fully upgraded for the Castle Age, coming in here from BacT. And, you know, these knights, even though they are quite tanky against skirmishes, against 40 of them, I don't really think so. That's only a couple of volleys from all of these guys here, and one knight is going to go down quite easily and quite quickly indeed. So what BacT, or what Lix should be doing, throwing up an extra town center at the back of his base and just start trying to boom and pull ahead even further in terms of economy. You can see that village elite is starting to grow just a little bit too quickly for BacT to be able to pull back, considering he is only on 2 town centers as well, I do believe, but he does have an absolute crap ton of elite skirmishes, and he could actually do a lot of damage with these guys here. One Mangonel shot, probably not going to be enough to deal too much damage against these guys. There's not too many low HP skirmishes in this bunch here, and we've already seen that BacT has fantastic micro when it comes to Mango Tangos, so he will probably be able to take out this Mangonel from Lix quite effectively. And now that Ballistics has actually come in as well, BacT might be wanting to start pushing in to the economy, or start trying to push into the economy of Lix and see if he can get one over on his opponent. But Lix is really, really well aware here. Horse Puller only just coming in now for BacT as well. That's maybe a little bit late, but that's totally fine. I guess he had, well, it's not fine, but I guess he had his mind on other things as well. Villager lead really starting to pull ahead now in favour of Lix, and BacT needs to do something. He needs to make something happen here. He's bringing in another Mangonel. No more Mangonels on the way, but BacT, like I said, needs to make something happen here. He can't just try and outboom his opponent, and oh no, one Mangonel down for nothing is BacT, but he can't just try and outboom his opponent when his opponent is so far ahead in economy and up on an extra town center as well. And the longer this game goes, the better position, in my opinion, Lix is going to be in, unless BacT does make some damage and do something quite drastic to pull this back. But the problem is that Lix is completely and utterly walled up. He's got a couple of crossbows popping around inside these ranges, but those crossbows would do absolutely nothing against the elite skirmishes that BacT is fielding. And again, BacT just prodding and poking, seeing what damage he can do, seeing what harassment he can do to his opponent. And at the moment, the answer to that is absolutely jack all. This huge army of elite skirmishes out here on the eastern flank of the map, just doing absolutely nothing. And BacT saying there's no sound. Alright, fair enough. The only problem for Lix that I can see, though, is that he doesn't actually have access to gold. Like, he's got this gold here, but it is quite easily harassable by any skirmishers that just plonk themselves here, which is more or less the issue that we were discussing at the beginning of the game. But a 1-for-1 trade here on the Mangonel's Crossbowman upgrade coming in now for BacT. And what have we got down here? The Knights. The Knights from Lix actually making a bit of an appearance inside the economy of BacT here, sending in some crossbows and skirmishes to try and deal with this as one Knight goes down inside the economy of BacT. But Lix, having clicked up to the Imperial Age, utilising obviously that cheaper Byzantine Imperial Age upgrade, but he's just getting so much harassment in here with these Knights as well. He's going to be able to pull this villager lead even further ahead. Was that 24? I think 24 villagers. Unfortunately, we're going to see how quickly these Knights do actually go down to this amount of skirmishes. This monk trying to get that relic, you can forget about it, mate. This archery range out the front of your base Lix, you can forget about it, mate. But we do see a Mangonel coming out now. Could this be a huge shot? BacT. No, this Mangonel is pretty much dead now if BacT's paying attention. A nice attack ground, a couple of skirmishes going down. One more volley of arrows should be in a good position for BacT, but BacT, oh, okay. I thought that could have been an absolutely huge hit, but no, it was not. Could this one? Oh, a nice amount of skirmishes actually having gone down there for BacT. Lick's getting a nice shot, nice attack ground shot there with this Mangonel as another one pops out as well. BacT sensing he might be able to make some magic happen now. Bring maybe snowball this momentum that he has at the moment. Maybe he doesn't know that his opponent's up to the Imperial Age, but another nice shot from Lix coming in there with his Mangonel. More elite skirmishes being queued up inside of these ranges from Lix. Does he know his opponent's up to the Imperial Age? I think he might. I think he might actually suspect it. Chain Barding Armor now coming in for Lix as well, and we can see that if Lix does decide to go down the Cavalier/Paladin route, he's going to be in a good position to be able to take down this army from BacT. Not much going on out here on the left-hand side for BacT. Again, just elite skirmishers poking and prodding and seeing what damage they can do, what harassment they can do to the economy here of Lix. But what is BacT going to do if Lix is throwing up any extra stables? No, he's not. He's throwing up another university. I can't see another stable coming up, which might have been a nice thing. It would have been nice to see, considering it looks like he wants to sort of go down the. Maybe he wants to go down the night route. He is housed quite badly here as well. The villager lead still quite considerably in favour of of Lix, that is, and BacT still with these skirmishes, just trying to punch a hole inside this inside this left-hand flank of Lix's base. But BacT is doing the right thing. If you're an age behind your opponent, you want to try and keep him locked up in his base for as long as you can. Give yourself time to get up to the next stage and get on par in terms of upgrades and technological advantages as well. BacT still only on 2 town centers, so it looks like he might be able to be clicking up to the Imperial Age soon. No, he's actually quite low on gold, investing quite a bit into, I guess, mangonels and such. Knights coming out now as well, +2/+2 having been done. Leather Archer Armor coming in for BacT, but still not going to be able to do too much against the sparse amount of skirmishes that he has, considering his army is quite badly split. Again, some out here on the left-hand side, and these Knights are going to be able to push back the elite skirmishes from BacT quite considerably, but at the same time, BacT has found his way inside the base of Lix here, but I think Lix should be okay if the elite skirmishes focus fire down the crossbows, and with chemistry coming in as well, and the Knights out here on the front of the base, cleaning up all that pesky business at the front of Lix's base. Is that an extra stable? That is finally an extra stable coming up for Lix. We'll just turn the volume down real slightly. I think that should be okay. Looks like this army in the back of Lix's base is going to get cleaned up quite easily and quite comfortably as BacT finally clicks up to the Imperial Age. Forward castle coming in here from Lix as well. This would be a really nice position for Lix to push in from if he can get this castle up. Now he's going to have to bring all of his army forward to be able to push back this elite skirmisher army from BacT. And is BacT making any sort of transition, any sort of switch to deal with the Knights? Well, no, he's not. I can't see that he has a monastery up. He has no monastery up. Does he have anything coming out of his barracks? No, he's got nothing coming out of his barracks, so these Knights are just going to be able to run rampant around inside this field of skirmishes, as the elite skirmishes here now with +3, with Bracer having been done and chemistry on the way for Lix, going to be able to push back these elite skirmishes here from BacT quite considerably and quite easily, especially with the Knight raids coming in as well. And it looks like Lix is in a fantastic position. Again, still a huge economical advantage and a technological advantage as well, with Thumb Ring coming in for BacT. A quicker firing rate maybe helping to try and pull this back, but it looks like the momentum, the snowball effect is going to be too great for Lix at the moment, naively having been put potentially, but we can see that this castle is definitely going to go up at the front of BacT's base. Is there anything else going in? No, nothing else going on, but GG having been called from BacT, recognizing the situation and recognizing there is no way that he is going to be able to pull this one back. Bravely fought on though. He did the right thing, trying to keep his opponent locked up inside of his base when he was an age behind. But at the end of the day, the raiding, that elite skirmisher raiding that happened on BacT, or in BacT's economy, where, I don't know, 10 maybe villages went down inside of the wood lines and gold from BacT, was just too much for BacT to pull back on, especially since he was 1 town center behind his opponent as well. And he couldn't capitalize on the fact that he had a huge army, just couldn't push into his opponent's base and do any damage to try and pull it back. So well played, very well played from Lix. And we'll come out of this one, and I'll end it here, and I'll see you guys in the next game, which will be game 4.